This is a reading for you. It is not attached to a zodiac sign nor a timeline. The intention is if you come across this reading, it should benefit you in some way. I post on here daily. That's a new thing. I've been sort of spotty here and there, but I've decided I'm going to start posting daily. It can be hard for me to post at the same time every day just because of how my schedule is. But one thing I can say for sure moving forward is there will be a daily post. And I hope you guys will subscribe and find interest and join along. Now, I've already pulled a spread for you here of the Celtic cross. I want to say that you're either someone is investigating your work or how you do things, or you are investigating your work, like trying to progress maybe. You may also have an intuitive feeling about a communication coming, or and I feel like this is probably work related, although, you know, I would say that your personal life is relevant here, of course, because it's always relevant, but this is just sort of an optimistic perspective on maybe some partnerships or things that are in development. I get the impression of feeling like things are in development. Now, what is this you're crossed by? I want to say that you're learning a lot of mistakes. Learning from your mistakes of the past. You know, I think that something has even gone well for you historically. But, you know, when you start really sort of devoting some time and energy to this, it's going to be very rewarding. And what I will say is, I think ahead of you, you're going to have to face some fears in order to get through the other side of something. It does have justice. Clarify. And again, we have the King of Swords and the Queen of Cups. So again, this talks about partnerships or other people to some capacity. I feel like things happen very fast. Also, you know, with that facing fears thing, you may have to change up a bit or leave behind certain things or really adapt to certain habits. And you may leave some people feeling a bit frustrated. In your perspective, though, it's kind of like you've had it almost. You're seeing very clearly, and you're seeing the importance of certain things. And I feel like you're sort of focused on developing value even. And perhaps, you know, especially where the relationships come into context, perhaps you're assessing the value of relationships or what you find value, or like how relationships and other people and the energies attached to them affect you. Because that's something we don't often consider with interacting with others, is how energy is contagious. That's why when you hang out with a certain person or a group of people for a long period of time, you know, consistently, you'll start taking on their mannerisms and maybe even start saying phrases that they say, things like that. You also can take on other more subtle energies like lethargy, depression. You know, the influence of others is very present in life in general, even in just like an elemental and planetary sense. There are subtle energies that most people are not aware of that affect us all the time. And, you know, there are exercises and things you can do to sort of prevent that and gain a sense of sovereignty and begin to repair the energetic body and sort of move in a different capacity with it where it won't affect you as much, at least. But, you know, most people are not doing that, you know. So point being, I feel like you're assessing and trying to select wisely where you spend your time and energy and with who. And you also might be like just like navigating different aspects of I don't know, your life. This one's kind of tough. Not, you know, it's not bad. I mean, and it's advice, so it's sort of pointing you in a direction, okay? I feel like you see diminishing potential with something. I feel like you're probably going to end something. You're taking a very independent leap forward. I feel like you feel very independent right now and very motivated and very inspired and driven to the big picture. But you're holding on to confusion that isn't necessary. And you maybe have been resisting certain changes for some period of time, and it's only left you in regret or in a pessimistic state of mind. And, you know, and if it comes down to mistakes, right? When we're looking at mistakes, it's best to just move on and do what we can from that point on. Because if we just sit there and dwell on mistakes, that's the same thing as if, say, you broke a glass, and then instead of sweeping it up and just buying a new glass, you just stood there looking at it. It's not helpful, you know. Ahead of you, it's suggesting to set your sights on the goal or the potentials that you see or that are presenting themselves to you. I want to say there's a lot of opportunity presenting itself. I think that you're feeling good and optimistic about your future or about some dramatic changes that are to take place. It almost feels prophetic, like it's, you know, and, you know, there's just a sense of knowing with this. And now, and other people come into play here. Clarify. I feel like, funny enough, I feel like there are, and on the other side, you know, I feel like this talks about something that, you know, it's kind of difficult. It's like perhaps you've tried to help nurture or direct or guide like certain people or just like connect or like have it evolve. And like at some point, I feel like there's things to address of like what is detrimental, like for you, like when it's sort of a setback or when there are just certain things to acknowledge that are sort of glaring or analyzing, you know, again, that the thing with relationships come into play of what is a good fit, what you like want. And this could be professionally speaking too, although I think in work you seem to maybe have a more clear sight. I feel like light comes in to sort of expose all of the problems. It kind of shines through all of these attachments that you don't need or fears that you have to face. It's nothing. It's like divine truth. It feels very massive. It's like you could, because even if you try and like hide from it or keep it, it's like, and you know, I think there's an awareness of this that you understand that things are unfolding in a certain way. I also feel like you might evolve in consciousness. You know, there's sort of like clarify this. Yeah. And it's almost like when things sort of become clear or transparent or move along, that's when like healing can start. But the longer you sort of stay in this period, it's just, you know, it kind of puts a lock on everything. It's really sort of like a period of contemplation and reflection. Consorting with the spiritual world, perhaps dabbling in magic. And I feel like you're kind of getting a firm footing in spiritual routine, maybe. Or maybe just in your work, because I kind of feel like, wow, yeah, I mean, all of these cards sort of relate to magic and like our spirituality and foundations. And there's a need to stand firm in like said practices or understandings that you gain. Like when you receive a message that you understand is truth, you know, stand with it. Because there's a lot that's at play here. And it's almost like a part of your ascension. Yeah, because over here it ends with closing circle, and then it brings us right to opening circle. Particularly if you're developing your psychic awareness, or there's some sort of sacred aspect to this. You know, listen to your intuition. You're very much being guided right now. And I feel inclined to say that you shouldn't second guess it, you know. It's almost like it's almost like you're stuck in this pit of anxiety or your own thoughts or whatever, and yet it's like in the outside influence there's just like this bountiful garden, plenty of options, people, potential. You know, it's very lush out there in the world that you're very hesitant to move towards for whatever reason, or you know, because I feel like it has to do with maybe detaching from things that are difficult to detach from. Clarify. Nice. And there may be a direction you're kind of inclined to go or called to go that is maybe rooted in the past or some kind of nostalgia. And there's almost this mystery to it. I feel like a lot of this comes down to setting yourself free from the illusions that we create ourselves, the narratives that we tell ourselves, the imprinted fears on our subconscious mind that bleed into our way of thinking and being all the time. You know, this is what has to sort of be addressed. Or it feels like you're facing it or taking a look at it in a good way, you know. So I do feel like things will progress quite well for you from here. It's just, you gotta, it's that freeze that gets you. And I'm getting the impression like don't be afraid. Like I feel like you're afraid things will fall through. They won't fall through. You know, really lean into that trust and just proceed forward. And I think that you're going to be very glad that you did. I mean, I think you're already on the way. Even if it's sort of slow, it does seem to be coming together for you. And we must always keep in mind that the physical plane is not all that there is. In fact, it's the smallest part of existence. There's a spiritual and mental plane which have far greater impact in the physical world than most people are aware of. And our attitudes, our thoughts, our emotions, and everything that we put focus and emphasis on is in a process of creation, in a process of development, of becoming dense matter until it becomes physical in the physical world. So that's why it's so important to be mindful of what you're experiencing internally, what you're allowing yourself to feel, think, and so on. And I understand people are human, we're going to experience emotions. What I mean is not dwelling in the negative, in the darkness. You can, when we're unaware of it, our emotions, our experiences really dictate the direction our life takes. But when we become aware of it, conscious of it, and make a direct effort to improve it, we take control of our destiny. So take control of your destiny. I'm going to proceed further for the extended reading. You can check that out on my Patreon. That's in the description below. It's the first link. I am available for personal readings as well. And if you enjoyed this, if you resonated, definitely please do feel free to like and subscribe. And I will see you all next time. All right, Patreon.